Welcome to the live webinar, the first live webinar of the MOOC on solving complex problems. I want to welcome you from all around the world, from the beautiful city Delft. And we're going to start. I want to thank you for all the enthusiastic participation you already had this week within the discussion forum by posting all these nice commands and also questions. I want to give the word first to Alexander. Alexander, please start off.
Okay, thank you very much everybody all around the world, also on behalf of me. As an introduction, I would like to show you some pictures of the beautiful city of Delft where we are broadcasting from. You see it in the back here, you see the canals, you see the bicycles, and you also see that it is a little bit grey today. Here you see the tourists that buy the famous Delft blue, and of course Hugo Grotius. You can see it's a little bit grey today. The weather here was quite cold in the morning. There was even ice on the roofs. Around 11 degrees at the end of the day. That is 11 degrees Celsius and 52 degrees Fahrenheit. What I would like to know from you all over the world is where you are watching from. So do us a pleasure and send us a tweet at SCPMOOC or hashtag SCP, where you're watching from, and include the weather conditions over there. By the way, it is here 7 o'clock in the evening, so it's dark over here. If you want to talk to us or interact with us during this webinar, then you can use the chat function that you see in the right down corner of the screen. So if I point in that direction, then it's more or less the direction where you should see that. And you can also use the forum, of course, of the website itself. That brings me immediately to the woman that's sitting next to me, Fieke Miedema. You know her already from the different videos, I think, and she has a little laptop in front of her. That means that she is in contact with the rest of the world. If you tweet something, if you put something on the chat, if you put something on the forum, then we see it over here, and Fieke will be feeding our discussion tonight here with your questions. I think, let me first introduce the two other people on the table. I'm sorry, first time also for me. Luc van Koppen over here and Stephanie van der Boogaard over there, two students in the course, on-campus course, quite some years ago already, and now active in the course, on the on-campus course, and supervising the students. You're also active on the forum and also active here. Welcome, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I think before we really start, there's some sort of household remarks that I have to make. One about the book and one about the multiple choice questions.
Yeah.
There's lots of uncertainty, I think, and lots of questions about the book. Let me put it very straightforward. This MOOC was never designed to be used with a book. It is absolutely not necessary to have the book to pass this MOOC. However, the moment we announced this course called Solving Complex Problems, there were people already Googling. Us and find out that there was also a book called Solving Complex Problems, and the author of the book had the same name as the teacher of the MOOC. So quite some people emailed me and said, can you give me the relation? Can you give me the relation between the videos and between the book itself? So that is what we did, and that is why you see so many relations between the videos and the book. So no need to buy it. However, there will be a possibility to get an ebook because lots of people have asked us. The ebook will come within 2 weeks or so from now, and we also got the permission of the publisher to publish the first 2 chapters of the book, chapter 1 and 2 in PDF. We will do that tomorrow on the website, and the chapters 1 and 2 cover more or less everything that is in this MOOC. So only after 3 or 4 weeks, and you're still very much interested in this particular topic, then you can always invest in the book. And the multiple choice questions, they are there to measure the pace of the course. With 26,000 people around the world following this MOOC, it's impossible for us to find out what the pace of the course is if we wouldn't have something else than multiple choice. So that's the reason why they're there. And you can make them at any time. They are open this week, they're open next week, they're open till the end of the course, till week 5. And even after week 5, you have 1 week remaining to complete all the tests. So no worries, do it at the time that is most convenient for you. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
No, I think we had all. Today, what we're going to do is to address some problems and some questions according to this, the first week, the problem statement and the actor identification. I just want to start off because I think that's the most interesting thing to do. Just having discussion. The first topic we've seen on the discussion forum, and what we think was really interesting. Was the difference between a complex and a complicated problem. Overall, you see it. We write it down. Yep. We have a smart board where everyone, where we'll hand on the questions we see. So the actual question was, what is a complex problem? and yeah, we added the term complicated because it's something different. And to start with, to solve complex problems, you have to know what a complex problem is. So I think that's the start for today.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. Whomever posted it, and there were many people who posted this. Complicated problems are relatively simple problems, you could say. Eh? The idea is with complicated problems that if you do the calculations very well, you can in the end always come up with an answer. Maybe it's very difficult to come up with the answer because you have to do a lot of math or you have to do a lot of practicing or experimenting, but it is possible to come up with an answer and to more or less prove that that is a correct answer or the correct answer. Now with complex problems, that's totally different. In essence, nobody knows what the problem is here, so in essence, nobody can know what the solution is. The only way to address a complex problem is by introducing the perspectives of many different actors involved and then enriching the picture of what that particular problem could be. And then in the end, after the analysis, we could opt for a certain solution, but that is a solution decided upon or chosen among a big group of solutions, and nobody knows whether that decision is really a good one or whether it is the best one. It's impossible to know. So complex problems, in essence, impossible to know what the problem is, impossible to know whether the answer is correct, and complicated problems are problems that you can do the calculations well and in the end prove that it is possible, in the end prove that the answer is correct. So that's a very general answer, but I think we could make it a little bit more clear and maybe have some characteristics of what complex problems are.
Yeah.
So you get any ideas?
Stephanie, if you want to start?
The first thing which comes into my mind is that a complex problem most of the time is really dynamic, so the problem is not the same as it will be tomorrow. And with a complicated problem, I would say that most of the time it's kind of a static problem, so it's the problem of today is also the problem of tomorrow.
Yeah, imagine the situation that you have just met the CEO of a company and you've asked him about a problem about emissions or about something else, safety, whatever, and a month later there's another CEO in that company. Then for sure you can know that the opinion of that person and with it also maybe the culture in the company has changed. So they will see the problem 1 month later in a completely different light. You get a new perspective on the problem. So dynamic is definitely one of the characteristics. Many more?
Think of, we already mentioned it somehow, but it's a multi-actor, so there are more actors than just one. Having different views on the problem, so they don't see one solution, they don't all see the same solution. But someone thinks that the one solution is better than the solution someone else thinks, so I think that's a really important one.
This is the word we will see a lot. Yeah. That is the issue with complex problem. There's a lot of multis. There's multi-actor. That means that there's many people looking at it. There's many different perspectives. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that also most of the time there's not really one clear problem, but there can be multiple problems addressed actually. So yeah, multi-problem. Multi-issue.
Yeah, shall we call it issue not to avoid the problem confusion? Yeah. Imagine that you live close to an airport and you want to sleep at night. That is another issue of the problem airport or the situation or issue airport. Then somebody who wants to operate the airport or somebody who wants to sell goods at the stores near the airport. It's the same. I wouldn't say problem. It's the same situation, but two completely different issues considered as problem. One is noise and one is retail. Yeah. Would that do it?
I think we have most of it. Don't know if you know yourself. Want to add something?
Oh, maybe an example.
We can think of.
I remember that on the forum somebody said, hey Alexander, you're introducing this problem of what to eat tonight with friends and family. That doesn't sound very complex to me. There must be other problems that are much more complex. I still like that example a lot actually, because I think everybody is in that room to have dinner, but for a different reason. Somebody just is hungry and somebody wants to eat fast because he has to go to hockey or whatever. Somebody else just wants to gather around with friends or just wants to have a nice time. There are so many different issues around dinner that even such a thing can be very complex and eventually decided upon. I mean, of course, it's easier to decide upon this than to change the healthcare system in the world or something.
It's not really complicated, but it is complex.
It is for sure complex, because we don't know. Yeah. So I still like my example.
That's it. Me too. Take a look. I think so that's the main thing. A complex problem is, as we stated before, it's a dynamic problem. There's a multi-actor, multi-perspective, and there's also a multi-issue. So I hope we've given an overview of what is a complex problem for you all who's looking at us. take a look if we can do. Do you already have one question, Fika?
Well, I have some updates. Thank you for everything that's already coming in. We have some updates from the weather in Hanover and from Greece. So thank you for that.
How is it over there?
In Hanover, it's 2 degrees and grey and no snow yet.
Cold.
And in Greece, the weather is also pretty terrible. So we're not alone.
We're not alone.
So thank you for the updates. And please share your questions about the webinar, about other things you have with us.
Okay, so I think we can come to a second discussion topic. It's something I really liked. I found it on the discussion forum, and we had someone working with the burgers case, the case we provided within the webinar. Within the MOOC. What I want to say at first that the cases we use over here are an example. So it's not that if we do not use the case that you're working on, you can still see the method we are using and you can apply it to every case. So I think that's really important to note, because otherwise some people don't know what they're looking at. I think we have it on the screen. So I would like to ask Alexander. Someone posted a nice picture of the overview of burgers with some actors and problem statements. So both both issues we did this week are in here. Where do you want to start? Actors or problem statement?
Well, basically, I want to start by saying thank you very much, because it's wonderful to see this. And I've called Joey, actually, the owner of the store, and she might be watching. So Joey and Melanie, I know that you might be watching. If it's not too busy tonight in the restaurant, if you do, send us a tweet, because it would be great to have you into the discussion. But this is a wonderful picture, and it communicates, I think, very well to a client by saying, this is the question that Joey asks, more or less, in the video. And these are the actors that we have identified around it, and now we want to make the next step. I mean, this is where you start. Yeah. We've seen many lists that are also beautiful, but this is artwork. Yeah?
Art.
So thank you very much, and whoever sent this. There's many things to say for the next steps, and not so much to improve it, but there's many things to say for the next steps. Here you see a problem statement, and you see a lot of actors around it. And the first thing that comes to my mind, but please add for what you see, is that there's a distinction between youth people, adult people, and kids. I think it's great, because if you just talk about customers who are coming in, it's very difficult to say what these people really want, because the group is so different. There's many different people in the group of customers. So I think kids have their own ideas of what they want to do at a hamburger restaurant, and adult people also, and youth people also. But also think maybe within the group of youth people, if you split it up, then maybe you could add some perspectives to the problem that now are not present if you just bring them all together. Just remember the example we gave a minute ago. Why do people want to eat? Some just want to be together. Some want to have a nice environment. Some want to eat. Some want to have nutritious food, and some want to eat very fast. There's many different reasons why people come together. So I'm not saying that it would be a good idea to split these all up into 6 or 7 subgroups, because then you get an enormous amount of actors. But if you try that exercise and you find out that within youth people you could identify 3 groups that add 3 perspectives on the problem, you immediately enrich the picture enormous. So I would definitely advise here as one of the next steps to break up these groups of actors and start thinking whether you could add new perspectives. And then in the end, maybe you choose to take 4 or 5 for your analysis and not all. But first, find out if you can enrich, and then move further, because then you don't miss anything. But that's the first thing I see. If we stay within actors, is there something else we could mention? Maybe the problem owner?
Yeah, I think it's really good that the client is already defined, but I'm a little bit confused because is the staff the client? So everyone who works there, is that the client, or is there a specific person, maybe the client? So that would be a good improvement actually to make, maybe to more specify the person who is your client.
And what I like very much is that there's a picture of Joey herself. So it looks like the owner of the restaurant is supposed to be the client here. And that makes me happy in a way that this person is at least capable of making changes. Yeah. And when you have a client, when you have a problem owner, you do an analysis in order to help that person make a decision for whatever the problem is. But when that person makes a decision, you must also be capable of implementing that decision. Otherwise, it's useless to make an analysis. And with Joey, you for sure know, the owner of the restaurant, that if there is something to change, and if she chooses something, if she chooses one of the solutions, maybe one that you propose, that she's capable of implementing it. So after specifying a little bit more, as you say correctly, Stephanie, maybe towards Joey as the problem owner, tweet us if you agree with us, Joey, then I think it's a well done choice for a problem owner.
Yeah, I agree.
What I also what I like is that there's a specification of actors, like we already mentioned. But what you see a lot also in the discussion forum is that people are asking, when do we have all actors, or do we have too little? Do we have to do we have too much? That's a really question you see all the time. What I think is that this is a really nice group. I think that's most of them are there. And you have to, what the answer also in the discussion forum was, you have also to look at the problem statement. Every actor has his own problem statement. They all are involved by the system and have some kind of problem with the restaurant in this case. But the question still says, do we have all, and when do we know to have all? Is there one kind of way to? I saw brainstorming. That's the main way to come up. But is there one kind of way to know if you got all?
Yeah, that's the problem with this course in every aspect. There's never the way to solve these kind of things, but there's ideas on how to do it, because you might get a little bit tired from all of us always typing back in the fora, and me definitely saying in the videos that you should split up groups of actors, and you have the idea it is an endless process and it ever gets more and more and more, and when does it stop? One thing that I do very often, and that might help you too, is to introduce some sort of typology, that you say, okay, let's assume we have roughly 4 or 5 type of actors and see if all the categories get filled. Now the ones I usually use is, this sounds like an open door, but very important, that you at least have someone in the category problem owner. Many people forget it. Many people have an idea that there's something wrong in society and they put it as a problem. Analytically speaking, is a bit strange. If you don't have a problem owner, if there's no one who can actually choose something, can actually do something, can actually make a change, someone who has the power, the money, the knowledge, etc., then it's useless to make the analysis, because then you might know what to do, but there's nobody who can implement it for you.
Is this the same as the client always?
Most of the time, yeah, not necessarily. You can be the problem owner yourself. If you address your own problems, you can be your own client and step in the role of analyst and do the neutral analysis, and then step out of the role of analyst and step in the role of decision maker and choose your own solution, basically. So problem owner, let's put client also over there. So it's a C and an L. It looks like a D now. It's client. And the second type of second category actually is what I would call stakeholders. So stakeholders usually have some sort of negative image around them, and when people start talking about stakeholders, they have the idea, I want to implement someone, I want to, put a highway somewhere, and there's always people who are against, there's pressure groups, etc. That's a negative image of stakeholders. The beauty of stakeholders is that they put another light on the problem, and they might come up with solutions that you never thought of, and that opens up, that broadens the perspective of the complexity. So very good to include them. You should have a lot of stakeholders in your analysis. And two other groups that I think are very useful is designers. Designers are usually the source of solutions, and you need a lot, actually. You need a lot of solutions because in the end you want to compare them on criteria and decide what a good option is to solve your problem. And that means that you need people that come up with solutions. Maybe, if you say it a bit bluntly, designers are people that make solutions, but there's still not a problem for that particular solution. They're wonderful people because they give you options. So make sure you have some designers in your problem. And the last thing, I think it's good to have some experts. So people who know a lot. Maybe you know a lot about a little, but that's not that important as long as they know a lot, because what you want to know is the solutions that come from this source. What are they doing? What is the effect if you implement them? And for that you need experts. So this is just something that could help. This is something that I use a lot. I'm not saying is the answer, but give it a try. See if it helps you.
So yeah, it's still sometimes is hard what the actor. It's still hard when you have a total list of actors, but I think this typology can really help. Take a look.
We didn't talk about problems.
No, we didn't. No.
Shall we do that?
Yeah, take the problems. Yeah, we have time. Otherwise, we make time. So.
Okay, it's an important thing. It's an important thing.
Yeah, it's in the middle, so it's really important. That's.
It's in the middle. That's great. That's where we start. Yeah, and it looks like this is something that Joey said. If I remember when we when we filmed that video, this was something she said. This
Yeah,
is
this
my
is-
problem.
this
This
is-
is what I want.
This is one-on-one coming from
Yeah.
what
Video,
Joey said. Yeah.
So by definition, it's true, huh? Because the client says so.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at it from an analytical perspective, can we make changes? What do you think? Theoretically, we don't know what the problem is. That's what she knows,
Yeah.
at least from her perspective. What would you add here?
Stephanie, you would.
If I see this sentence, I'm not really sure what the problem exactly is. So, what is really the dilemma between between the situation and the desired situation? I would say, that's something that has to be more clarified, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like now that there is a problem between what's blue and what is black.
Yeah.
So you want to be successful in a restaurant and you want to do it in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly clear whether that is problematic or not.
Mm-hmm.
You like the format. I don't know if I can write on this one. Otherwise,
Yeah, you can.
can I? Shall I
Yeah,
try?
believe-
you
I
can.
believe you do.
Yeah, you can. We
Yeah.
tried. So.
What you like is this kind of format in problem formulation. It sounds a bit abstract, but you want something. I don't know. Mobility, and you want something else. Not at all. For instance, mobility gives you noise emissions, and then noise emissions is the Y, and the X is the mobility. That's what you want to see. The wish that you have, to be successful, for instance, usually leads also to effects that you don't want, and that makes the problem. You need a combination. You need a dilemma. You need a tension. Something you want and something that you don't want. It comes together, and the idea is that we analyze and that we, in the end, have so many perspectives on the problem that we can come up with potential solutions that decouple this, what you want and what you get, but what you don't like. So you're looking for some format of X versus Y.
Yeah.
And there is an X and there is a Y here. But still, it doesn't look like they
have a
so much
versus.
tension in between. Yeah,
There's
there's
not
no
a versus.
versus.
So
There's no
that's
that's what I think. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I think.
Because you could also say serving real pure hamburgers makes a successful restaurant.
Yeah, it could
So-
be a causal link even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, it could be a causal link.
So that's the thing that's over here. So you have clearly a wish.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the wish is
Definitely
really
a wish.
clear. Yeah, that's
and
good.
However, I think you could even make successful. It's stated on top, but you can make that a little bit practical, even more.
Yeah.
So what's
Yeah.
successful? That's
Should we-
always a question. Successful,
Explicit.
Yeah.
because successful to the one
Yeah.
actor is different to the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, we want to know what she thinks is successful here.
Yeah.
That's what we want to make explicit.
Yeah.
Agree.
And serving real pure hamburgers. So why isn't she successful now? And I don't think that's because she's serving real pure hamburgers. But we already mentioned that. So to take a look at it, there are a wish. There's not really a dilemma.
No.
It could be, but it's not. So
I
that's. Are there solutions in it? Because that's a main
Yeah.
mistake we see in problem statements.
I was wondering,
Yeah.
is it, I mean, for sure, I know Joey, this is what she wants to do. She
Yeah.
believes in it.
I
But
think in this case it's more like a goal than a solution, actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you
You
could
can
say
doubt about it.
restaurant owners just want to make money. I don't believe, I know Joey very well, she's very enthusiastic. So that's not a person that just is in the business to make money. Yeah? So that could be in your problem statement. This looks like a solution, but knowing her, I think this is something she believes in and she really wants to make happening. So again, if you're watching, Joey, can you Twitter us, because
Yeah.
you're the one who knows.
I think we have to go on.
Yep.
According to time. We have a question from Maria, where a video was sent in, and I'm going to take a look if we can. Yeah, just take a look at the question from Maria. So.
Hello everyone, my name is Maria, I'm from Greece and I am a student here in this MOOC course. I involved in it immediately after finishing my bachelor studies because I believe it will help me solve everyday problems through a more structured way of thinking, as well as broaden my visions. Well, while studying about this course, I came up with a question about problem statements, and I have a specific example, as you can see here. But it states, how can we increase the travel capacity of the connection between the cities of Maastricht and Amsterdam without increasing noise and harmful gas emissions? Well, one might say that this problem statement is a clear and explicit one. It contains a gap as well as a dilemma. However, in my opinion, this problem statement contains a double dilemma. Decreasing noise as well as harmful gas emissions are two different things. But again, one might say that these things go together. So my question is, how to deal with this problem? Should we avoid problem statements with double dilemmas, or it's fine to use them as long as they are well expressed? Thank you very much.
So at first I want to thank Maria for a question sent in. To say her question again, she has a problem statement. The problem statement sounds, how can we increase travel capacity of the connection between the cities of Amsterdam and Maastricht without increasing noise and gas emissions? And her problem was that there is increase of travel capacity on the one side, and she has noise and gas emissions on the other side. So she has a double dilemma. And she asks if it's a problem and also what she can do about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Stephanie?
immediately say that this is a problem, but it can make things more complicated. And your problem statement actually is to communicate the problem very well, and if it's really complicated, then the communication will be less effective. So if you can avoid it, I would suggest to do it, but it's not necessarily a big problem if you have a double dilemma, I would say. Luc, do you agree?
Yeah. What you have to, we mentioned the X versus I, what's still standing right on top of the burger, so I could use it right now. The problem with a dilemma is that you have X versus I1 and I2, so you have, with a double dilemma, so you have two separate parts of the dilemma wish, the wish which accords with the dilemma. And if they are both even important, then you could state them both. That's an option. But you have to really take a look that it doesn't become a wish list. So I want to increase travel capacity without noise, without gas emissions, without profitability of cars and all kind of that wish. So take a really look that it states the total problem in the most clarifiable way. When you make a wish list, it doesn't clear the problem statement itself anymore. So I hope that answers Maria's questions. Then we go to some questions we got already. Fieke?
Yeah, thank you, Luc. We have a lot of questions actually, and please note we're now answering the top of the iceberg. So if you have any more questions and we didn't get the chance to respond to you, please post them on the discussion forum, and we will get back to you later, but only also other people can answer your questions. So we encourage you not only to ask us, but also the other people, because we're, of course, learning with a lot of people. Start off with a question Marco has, and he asked, is there a difference between an actor and a stakeholder? A theoretical question.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that we see very often. Thank you very much, Marco, for asking the question. I think that in the categories that we just saw on the board, the problem owner, the stakeholders, the designers, and the experts, that basically everybody over there is an actor. Everybody that is somehow having a stake, somehow involved in the problem you're looking at, is an actor. So also the problem owner is an actor. Also the stakeholders are an actor. All the people are an actor. We just use the other words like stakeholder and problem owner to distinguish, because they have a different role. Problem owners are the ones who hire you maybe as an analyst to help you out. Problem owners may be yourself, because you have a problem, you want to solve it. And stakeholders might have an opinion. They might suddenly come into your problem the moment they hear about it, the moment you announce a solution, for instance. If you just say, we're going to build a certain factory over there, then people who live there might say, hey, now I'm a stakeholder and I'm opposing. So everybody's an actor, basically.
Everyone who's involved.
Yeah, who's involved.
So I think that's
the
main thing. If you're involved within the problem, then you're an actor.
It must hurt you a little bit or make you happy, so to say. I mean, it must do something with you.
Yeah, you have to be influenced by the
For sure.
So another question? Take a look.
Yeah, sure. Another question is, does every actor need to have a problem statement? And in what way can problem statements maybe help in defining perspectives?
I would immediately say yes. Sorry that I far away. It's who asked this? Can we
Paresh.
Paresh, thank you very much, Paresh, for wherever you're watching from. It's a very good question. Making a problem statement for every actor just enriches the picture, the total picture of the problem, because it gives you another perspective of somebody on that particular situation. So yes, definitely. Please do try to formulate problem statements for everybody involved. Just makes it much more clear for you what the problem eventually looks like.
Yeah,
So
and
good question.
what I think is that it's also a way to take a look if someone is really actor, because sometimes you think someone is an actor, but there's no problem statement because there's no problem for that one, and someone is sitting on the sideline but is not involved within the problem, then it's really hard to find a problem statement. So that's also
distinguishes from
Yeah.
being involved or not.
Yeah, being involved or not.
Very
So I
good,
think that's really important.
definitely.
Let's take another one.
Another one, the question is, do we always need to have a dilemma in a problem statement? Can you have a problem statement without a dilemma?
Stephanie?
Don't dare to fire away, please do, but I'm keen on doing so.
I would say, every problem
sure,
statement has a dilemma, because if there's no difference between the desired situation and the current situation, is there then a problem? Yeah, there has to be some kind of tension why the actor can't go to the desired situation. So, actually there's always a dilemma, I would say.
Yes, by definition,
Yeah.
for sure. Remember the discussion we had a moment ago when we said there's some sort of causal link to something that you want currently and something that you get as some sort of present that you don't want. There's mobility and emissions, and you want to decouple it. You absolutely need a dilemma, and you want to decouple it in the analysis. Definitely, always a dilemma.
Because otherwise there's only a wish. That's the thing. And
that's easy.
If there are two wishes that you could complete very simple. And then it could still be complicated to come back to the first, but when there's no dilemma, it's just solving a wish. And then
then you get stupid solutions. People say we want to have mobility and we want to increase it, for instance. Well, we just built new highways, Who cares about the environment, who cares about the congestion? It needs to be in the problem statement, otherwise you get two simple solutions. Sure.
Just take one other question.
The last question. It's also a bit of a technical question. Does a problem statement always takes the form of how to without?
As many people around the world who do the analysis, as many opinions about this. I can only give you mine. Please give yours as well, because you will see in the literature that there's many different ideas about it. I personally don't care at all whether it is a question or not, in what format it is. If you say we want something and there's something else we don't want, it's very obvious what you want. The wish is clear. It's very obvious what the dilemma is. So what is the problem? Maybe it's a safe way to always say how can we increase or decrease or reach or whatever, and then X, without getting Y. It's a safe way because it forces you to think in terms of dilemmas. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary. What do you think? What do you say to your students? Because they ask the same question.
Yeah, they ask the same question. And I also had the question on discussion forum already. What I always say is that think of the goal of your problem statement. There has to be wishes. Now, we said it already. There has to be two wishes. There has to be a dilemma. There has to be a gap. And in which way you do it, I don't mind either. But what I think is that I have to think of what said in the discussion forum. Someone said, I want this, but this is happening. And if you do it like that, then you really have some kind of problem that you're going to a solution in real quick. You have a solution and a causal relation. That's when you stated it on that way. So I think that what you already said, the how can we without is a really safe way to do it.
Yeah,
okay.
I totally agree with you.
But I think we have to. We said in half hour. We're already over half an hour. So I think take a look if I.
Close.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you. What do you think of it? I'm not going to start with Alexander. You talked already enough. Vika, how was the interaction? I want to start with you.
Yeah, great. Well, again, thank you for all the comments and the tweets and the questions. And it's great to see that so many people around the world are working together or collaborating and learning from each other. And we hope that we contributed a little bit in your learning today. It was great for me. Yeah.
Okay, Stephanie?
Yeah, I agree with Vika actually, and I really hope we have helped you today by answering your questions. So you can move on with the MOOC, and I really liked it. So I hope to see you next week also watching the MOOC actually, watching the webinar.
Alexander, what?
I'm not allowed to say many things.
No, you can.
No, I love the interaction. There's 26,000 of you, and it's really different than lecturing in front of lecture hall. And in this way, I somehow have the idea that we have some interaction. So thank you very much, and I hope next time we see each other again.
Yeah, and I have the honor of closing this session. I want to thank you all of letting me be your host today. Next week we are back, so yeah, stay tuned for next week, Thursday the 20th of November, 6 o'clock on the Greenwich Main Time. I want to say that every questions who are not yet answered so far, please set them on the webinar on the discussion forum. We're going to try to take a look at them all, but we will do our best. So thank you for watching, and till next week.